Good afternoon. My name is Jaideep Dongre. I'm the General Manager, Compliance Practice in Legacies. It is my privilege to welcome you to the second webinar of our Compliance Week. Compliance Center Awards and Symposium is an industry event to recognize outstanding work in the areas of governance, risk, and compliance. It is also a platform for leaders to share their viewpoints on contextual and pertinent topics. This symposium garners the attention of over 60,000 industrial professions. Compliance 1010 is also a platform that recognizes exemplary performance in compliance. Mr. Deepak Parekh aptly labeled Compliance 1010 as the Oscars of compliance. Over the years, the compliance crusaders like Mr. Adi Godrej, Anu Aga, Mr. Narayan Murthy, Mr. Damodaran, Mr. Deepak Parekh, Dr. R.A. Mashelkar, Mr. Harish Salve, and Mr. Venu Srinivasan have shared their views to an audience of over 60,000 compliance and risk professionals. As a major part of the Compliance 1010 is the Compliance Week, which is the Compliance and Ethics Week, which has various webinars and workshops. As a part of the Compliance Week, we arrange for pioneers in the business to guide and enlighten our audiences. On 4th of October, we had Mr. Anjal Raj speak about FSSI and plastic waste. Tomorrow at 12:30 in the noon, we have Mr. Gaurav, who is the Group General Counsel of Landmark, who is going to enlighten of the topics on retail of 6 countries in the Southeast Asia. We are honored and privileged today to have Mr. Sunil Lalai, whose career spans over 30 plus years in the public listed companies. Mr. Lalai has worked in the regulatory and compliance matters under the Companies Act, SEBI, FEMA, overseas subsidiaries, merger and acquisitions, JVs, IPR. He has contributed towards topics including compliance management, a business imperative, and compliance by choice, a reflection. Mr. Lalai is currently working with Endurance Technology as a CS and Executive Vice President. His earlier tenures include Rallis India, Hitech Plus, and Thermax as a CS for 14 years. The second speaker that we have is Mr. Sunil Sonar, who is working currently with Endurance as Regional Head EHS for Pan India since 2020. He has completed BE in Chemical Engineering and an Advanced Diploma in Industrial Health Safety. He is Auditor for ISO 14001 and ISO 45001 standards. The third speaker we have is Mr. Amarjeet Khatkar. He is working currently with Endurance Technologies as a Regional Head Corporate EHS. During his career span of 21 years in public listed companies, he has various experience in different areas apart from the regulatory and compliance matters under Factories Act, Environmental Act. He is a certified auditor under ISO 14001, ISO 45001, and ISO 50001. I now hand it over to Mr. Sunil Lalai to give his opening remarks and start the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jaideep Dongre, for the kind introduction, and a very good afternoon to all the participants. Compliance 10/10 a week is very well known and has been a pioneering event from Legacies. It has provided compliance professionals a platform to interact and share amongst us nuances on different topics. Today, we shall share certain practices followed for EHS compliance. Before we begin, I would just set some context in terms of compliance management. So compliance management has been prevalent from time immemorial, but in today's challenging and changing global scenario, it gains special significance and is a conscious effort to monitor compliance with relevant laws and regulations. Large respectable business houses have institutionalized suitable methodology and systems to monitor and adhere to laws applicable in their sphere of operations. Owing to increasing number of regulations and the necessity for operational transparency, companies are progressively adopting the use of consolidated and harmonized set of compliance controls. Significant and dedicated management effort is it's been witnessed, and that's generally is required in promoting this culture for the desired outcome that matches regulatory expectations. Hence, demonstration by actions right from the helm becomes increasingly important to inculcate this culture from the bottom of the organization. Right from the top till the bottom of the organization pyramid. Mr. Sunil Sonar and Amarjeet Khatkar, who are EHS champions at Endurance Technologies, shall walk us through today's topic on EHS compliance. Thank you. Over to you, Sunil Sonar.
Presentation is visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, good evening, all of you. As the subject is the legal compliance, and as you all are aware that the legal compliances and the laws interpretation and implementations in the industrial practices are having several challenges. We have to understand, then interpret in a suitable language to understand, make them understand to the local shop floor people, and get it implement on the shop floor as per the requirements. So we in day in and day out, we have to identify the requirements and get it implement accordingly. So we will take you through the how the practices are followed in the Endurance Technologies Limited. We will take you through these presentations. So today we will cover in this presentation introduction, current development in the labor laws, environmental legislations, statewide legislation implementation challenges, monitoring and measurement mechanisms for the legal compliances, and then question and answers. If we gone through the legislation formation cycle, then we come to know that the international labor organizations, they under them the research and development committee is there. They do the research throughout the world and identify the challenges for the ensuring the labor welfare and safety practices. So based on their conventions and recommendations, the prepared, developed and circulated throughout the member countries. So member countries need to understand and prepare the legislation as per their requirements. So based on the recommendations of the ILOs, the laws are prepared in the parliament, give the approach, and then it comes to the further implementations. So statewise, the rule and administrative functions are identified for implementing the laws on the shop floor. So once the laws are implemented, there are several challenges they are facing, administration bodies they are facing. So accordingly, they give some additional suggestions or the improvement in the current legislations. So accordingly, these suggestions and improvements points again reach to the ILO, International Labour Organizations Research Committee, and based on these recommendations, they again do the modification and recommendations in the existing conventions. So this way, the cycle of the updation, continual improvement in the legislation is going on. And as an industry, we should follow the legislations developed, because it is not easy. Several team members are there under the ILO who are doing the research and development for these laws and conventions developments. So it is not a single 1 day or 2 days of work. It is a dedicatedly throughout the year. These people are working on this preparation of the laws and identifying the requirements. So based on the recommendations of the ILO, the recent development in Indian legislations related to the labor laws, that Indian government want to introduce 4 labor codes. against the 13 existing laws. So that will replace by these 4 codes. And these are very important changes as far as the industry legislation compliance is concerned. And it is very convenient for the industries to ensure the implementation on the shop floor. If we see that with this change, 622 sections are converted into 143 sections. So definitely it will to ensure the legal compliances with optimum requirements. So we will go through this what new labor codes are saying, and based on that how we have to ensure the implementations. So there are the 4 major codes are identified. One is the code for the wages 2019, then industrial relation code 2020, the code for the social security 2020, and the occupational safety, health and working conditions code 2020. So the implementation will start with the FY23. The legislation is developed in 2020, but the implementation phase will initiate with the FY23. Accordingly, the Director of Industrial Health and Safety, they had circulated these codes to all industries and unions to make them understand, and any suggestion or modifications they want to provide. So government is ready to accept those inputs for the improvements. If we see the silent features of these codes, yes, definitely it will give a broad legislative frameworks that will ensure that the framing of rules and regulations and standardizations. So if we see how they are ensuring, so nationwide and statewise, the advisory board they are forming through this course, and that will really help whenever any legislation implemented and any modification or changes as far as the scenario and the problem faced on the shop floor for the implementations, that recommendations is very difficult to implement in the or modify or amendment in the existing legislation. But with this course and this administrative body, that National Level Health and Safety Advisory Board, they are very vigilant in coming days, and whenever any suggestions come from the industries for any modifications, they take the actions and they do the analysis of the requirements, and based on that they can modify the codes accordingly. So it becomes very easy for the implementations, and it will help industries to grow faster as compared to the existing laws is concerned. Then provide one registration for establishment instead of the multiple 6 different acts. So if we compare, previously we have to register the industry, we have to take 6 different registrations licenses. So with this current codes, definitely it will help us one location registration that will address all 6 acts requirements. Then this course providing the online platform and one more additional clause they had mentioned, deemed registrations. So that will really help many time industries facing that they had applied for the license, but due to the government rules and regulations and administrative bodies delay, they are not able to get the registrations in time, and there is a possibility of delay in the project implementations. So through this online portal, it will address those issues also. Prompt and support industries establishment and developments. So here really the central government as well as the state government wants to develop industries in the country. So it will really help the industrial development through this course. Provide economical benefit through the direct employments. Yes, this is also one of the excellent decisions that government had taken, that the direct employment they are providing. So previously the contractual employees come in the organizations through the contractors. So with this course that is also eliminated. Then provide a responsibility and accountability for the workers in case of unsafe act. So previously, yes, there are the requirements where when the workers are not following the safety rules and regulations, we can warn them through a warning letters. But now here these codes are clearly mentioning the accountability and the responsibility for the workers to ensure the safety practices implementation on the shop floors. Then one more big change that government want to introduce to ensure the proper and timely implementation of the industries in the countries. So the central government participation to ensure a quick approval for the new establishments. So that is the best part of this course, that they will help new establishment for easily and quickly implementations and approving the licenses to those industries. So here we will give you some what basic changes these codes are introducing and what benefit the industry can get. So here the first definition they had incorporated that the grandparents of the workers, that is also considered as in a family definitions. So what it will help. Yes, during in case of the death of the workers, the compensation benefit of that workers will receive to the parents as well. Then benefit under the plantations acts, there also previously the parents are not considered, only the worker and direct dependents are considered as a for the remunerations. But now yes, through this codes definitely they will get the benefit of it. Then interstate migrant workers. So migrant workers, suppose one state workers went to the other states, then they come under the contractors policy. So those contractors they hire them and they provide this contractor labor to the industries. So in between the contractor charges the some amount of the labor's wages for their as their profit. So in that the worker who is working in the industry, they are not able to get a proper remunerations for their workings. So here with this definitions, what government want to introduce, they introduce the contractual employee and the company employees. Both are at an equal platform, and the industries need to provide the wages as well as the housing and the educational benefits to the contractual employee as well. So this contractor terms will be eliminated in the new codes. Yes, few more changes are there, like a factory inspector. Factory inspector now become a facilitator. So previously the factory inspector only gives the instructions to the industry and asks for the compliances. But now if the factory inspector asks any implementations for any observations, he has to guide industry how to implement that. And it will really help for the industry to get proper implementations and improve the health and safety on the grounds. So this change definitely help the EHS person as well as the industry's administrative department to ensure the implementation of health and safety on the ground properly. Then the government want to establish a National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board, nationwide as well as a state level. So both the advisory boards, they are having roles and responsibilities, and their tenure is for 3 years. So these advisory boards members are selected from across the industries EHS professionals. So they have to identify and more vigilant towards the changes and the implementations challenges. So based on the recommendations and suggestions received from the industries, this advisory board take a review of the legislations, and accordingly whatever the changes the industries is expecting, based on their analysis, they can take a decision and make the amendment in the legislations as per the requirements. So this will really help for the industries. We can take one example, our Factories Act 1948. When that act is formed, yes, definitely at that time when the industrial development is going on, in India. Based on that scenario, the acts and rules are defined. So if we can take one example, the humidity and temperature measurements. So there are the dry bulb and wet bulb kind of the equipment is there to measure the humidity. But nowadays there are the digital the measurement equipments are available, which can fix and we can get the digitally monitoring of this workplace environment. So such type of the minor implementations points are considered, and accordingly these changes are incorporated in the legislations. So that will really help, because we have to not follow the older practices what the people are following in 1948 or 1946. So whatever the current scenario is there, based on that requirements, we can amend and make the policies and programs for ensuring the implementation of occupational health and safety on ground. One more thing, these codes are introducing that the safety committee importance. Yes, definitely these codes are giving a more importance to the safety committee, so that the ground level health and safety implementations will become easier, and those safety committee members having more importance compared to the previous legislations. Here we can say that previously these suggestions from the safety committee are not taken care by the factory inspector office. So and many times the good suggestions are there from the safety committee that are not implemented, as there is no proper administration department like factory inspector or the company administration department. They are taking it for the implementations. But through this course, yes, definitely the factory inspector call the safety committee recommendations on a regular basis and monitor the implementations on the shop floor. So that will really help for the proper implementations of health and safety on the shop floor. Yes, appropriate government authority to approve the new establishments. So most of the approvals are monitored by the central governments for the large scale industries, and there are some exclusions are there for the central government industries. So those are the controlled and monitored by the central government, subsidies of these central governments. So these are excluded from the state government approvals. So previously, most of the states they are differing, or they are not accepting the these changes because their financial and some political issues are there. So they are not allowing these establishment in their states. So here with this course, the central government given a clear guidance on that certain government subsidiaries companies that are excluded from the state government registrations. So that will really help to implement big projects from the government to develop the industrialization in the state as well. Some regulations and administrative controls are given to the state governments, like any factory establishment is there. Yes, definitely the state government approval is required for that, but the approval process is monitored by the central government. So it will really help in case the state government is not able to provide the approval within 90 days, then it deems to be considered as approved. So that is a very good initiative the central government had taken, that in case any application is made for the establishment of industry and state government is not allowing or not giving a clear approval, then it deems to be considered as approved if there is no communication from the state government within 90 days of the time of the applications. So yes, definitely a few more changes are there under the chapter 2. The code applies to the establishment employing at least 10 workers. Mines and docks workers having 1 worker also need to be registered. Yes, in previous legislations there are some exclusions are there. So here in new codes, that is reduced. So only 10 employees are employing by an industry that also need to register. And for mines and docks, only one worker is there still that need to register in the establishments. So that will really help to monitor these industries and monitor these small activities also, so that the government feels that the workers working in a small organizations that also taken care for the health and safety of that workers. So this safety codes definitely help them. Then the Apprentice Acts. Once the one application is made by the industry, they have to not apply for the other six types of the registrations. So only one registration is required for new establishments. Then health provisions and working conditions. Yes, definitely here the health and safety provisions for the contractor as well as company employees are made similar. Previously, what happened, we have to ensure the health and safety provisions for the company employees in a different way, and for the contractual employees are in a different way. Similarly, for the canteen facilities, most of the industries, they prefer that the company employees get a good quality food, whereas the contractual employees, that is not a mandatory. So there is a possibility that the quality of the food is not that much good. So here these safety codes clearly mention that the facility we are providing to the contractual as well as the company employees that are similar to both of them. So here definitely it will help and ensure the good health for the contractual employee as well. So in new definitions of the employees, here the major changes what they had identified previously, the middle management employees that are not considered, like apprentice people we are engaging in the activities which are skilled and semi-skilled, unskilled, manual operation, supervisory and managerial, administrative and technical, clerical. So for these activities, those employees are employed, but the definition is not incorporated in the legislations. So in these codes, yes, that definition is also incorporated, and it will really help to identify the managerial administrative staff as well as the workers on the shop floor. Yeah. Then interstate migrant workers. Yes, definitely good news for these interstate migrant workers. Previously, the organization they have to hire the contractual employees through the contractors only. So in the current states, the court what they had mentioned that industry can hire the employees under the contract for the 3 years or 2 years, based on the requirement of the industries, and accordingly the contractor workers directly working under the industry. So there is no need of the contractor in between industry and the workers. So those contractors, what they get the benefit, financial benefit from the workers' salary, that is taken care with this course. So now the worker who is working on the shop floor, that will get a better financial benefit and better salary compared to the previous legislations. One more thing here, the code had clearly mentioned that the salary for the contractual employee and the salary for the company employees, union employees, are similar. So there is no variation is required. So that way the government given a benefit to the migrant workers also, so that their educational and lifestyle improvement will be there, and their welfare will be taken care. Yes, in chapter 3 of the safety codes, the duties of the employers and employees are clearly mentioned. So here the few more changes are introduced, that when we take the duties of the employers, they provide a workplace that is free from hazards. So previously, yes, cleanliness and the awareness about the hazards that the employer should communicate to the workers. But now here clearly mentioned that the employer need to provide a safe workplace with the free of hazards. So that way, here government clearly mentioned that unsafe conditions are not allowed on the shop floor. So whatever the unsafe conditions are there, the employers need to take care of it. Then providing a free annual health checkup. So most of the industries, what they prefer, as there is no any specific legislative information is given for the contractual employees and the company employees. So some industries are there where they are charging few amounts for the health checkup of the employees. So with these legislations, they had clearly mentioned that the industry need to provide a free annual health checkup to the contractor as well as company employees. Then issuing the appointment letter to the employees prescribed a format. So here the industry need to provide a appointment letter for the employees, contractor as well as company employees, so that he can give the references to the next industry for his learning in the previous industry, and that work experience definitely help him to get a better job in the next industry. Then informing the relevant authority in case of accident at the workplace lead to death and the serious bodily injury to upon employees. Yes, previous legislation, there is the provision is there, but in this provisions in current safety codes, this definition is clearly mentioned. I will take you through that also in the next coming slides. Then duties of the consultant. Yes, definitely here the under the form 13 and form 11, we have to get our all lifting tackles need to tested through the competent persons. So here the government had given a clear guideline. When any engineers or any consultancy agencies, they are providing such type of the consultancies to the industries, their responsibility and accountability also considered. In case any failure is there of the any lifting tackles or the pressure vessels, then such consultants also consider into as a default for not ensuring the safety provisions in the implementations. So previously it was not there, but now yes, this safety codes are clearly mentioning the duties of the consultants. Then duties of employees, definitely here the employees' responsibility, roles and responsibilities are clearly mentioned. In case if the employee is not following the rules and regulations, safety rules and regulations properly, then there is a provision for the penalty also for those employees. And the participation in the safety committee from the shop floor employees, equal participation from the management as well as the worker categories is need to ensure. In case of the accident, so there is a provisions. So here government given us stringent regulations requirements. Previously it was not there, but now through this codes, safety codes, they had given a clear guidelines. The imprisonment in case of the death of the employee, imprisonment for the 2 years and a fine of 5 lakh rupees or both. The court may direct that at least 50% of the such fine be given to the compensation to the heirs of the victims. So here, whatever the compensation government take from the industries, that will share to the dependent of the that workers who cause the injury or the death in the accidents. So that way government want to help the workers to ensure their families and dependents future requirements. Then punishment for the causing of obstructions to the inspector or some facilitators. So here also in case there is a deviation or regulations are not followed, then imprisonment for the 3 months and 1 lakh of the fine provision is made. Then punishment of for non-maintenance of register record, non-filing of the returns. So here previously the penalties is not there, only the warning letter dish office will issue. But in current legislations, yes, definitely 50,000 rupees fine penalty provisions is made. One more additional penalty provisions are given to the employees for the violation of the provision of the codes. Then the 10,000 rupees fine to the shop floor workers. Such type of provisions is made. So here, in case any unsafe act done by the workers, that is penalized up to 10,000 rupees. So not only the warning letter, we can penalize him up to the 10,000 rupees of the fine. So that way, we can ensure the safety implementation on the shop floor through these safety codes. Definitely, it will help for the EHS person to ensure the implementation on the shop floor, as well as the administration of the industry will ensure the implementations in a proper way. So whatever the obstacles the industry are identifying from several years, that all our suggestions are considered in this current safety codes, and it will definitely improve the implementations. So I will request Amarjeet to take us through the environmental compliances. Over to you, Amarjeet.
Yeah, thank you, Sunil. Right now we have already seen environmental compliance related to safety and occupational health. Right now we will see compliance related to environmental and what individuals do to ensure compliance across all locations. Next slide, please. There are lots of legislation, environmental legislation in India. The main act is Environmental Act. We call it as Umbrella Act. All other acts and rules are developed on in view of all environmental production. That's why we call it Environmental Act as an Umbrella Act, and other acts like Water Act is there, Air Act is there, Noise. It formed from the Environmental Production Act. The industries need to take approvals from CPCB, SPCB as per the applicability of statutes for establishing and operating. If anyone want to establish an industry, operate an industry, they have to take certain permissions from central government, Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board under various these statutes. Next slide. If we check the compliances majorly required for industries, what are the approvals required to take? Any company when want to establish or operate, they need to take consent under Air Act. Under Air Act Section 26, we have to take consent from State Pollution Control Board to operate industry. We will in next slide we will see what are the conditions under these acts, so that there will be more clarity on the for our understanding. Then we are also need to take consent to establish and operate under Water Act also. Under Section 21 of Water Act, we need to take consent from State Pollution Control Board. In authorization also we need to take from under hazardous waste rule, because if any operations, if you are generating any hazardous waste, then we need to take authorization under this act. Then next approval is brand owner certificate. If any company is using plastic material for their packaging and for processing, then that industry should take from approval from State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board. If that and there is particular branding on that plastic. If that company exists within 2 states, then they need to take permission from State Pollution Control Board. If their existence is more than 2 states, 3 states, 4 states, then they have to take permission from Central Pollution Control Board. Then if any industry has established occupational health center in their premises and they are generating biomedical waste, then they have to take permission from State Pollution Control Board under authorization of biomedical waste. And if hospital is there, then they have to take permission for authorization under biomedical waste. Under e-waste rules also, we have to take authorization for industry. If any industry is manufacturing or producing any e-material, means through that e-waste is being generated, like electronic material like computer you are manufacturing, TV you are manufacturing, refrigerator you are manufacturing, then you have to take permission for authorization under e-waste rule from State Pollution Control Board. If you are only generating e-waste, your process is not related to processing electronic material, then you no need to take authorization under this rule. Next slide, please. As I already explained, these are some major consent conditions under Water Act, Air Act, and under other waste rule. If we see under Water Act, you have to declare water consumption as well for what you are consuming for domestic purpose, processing, and for cooling and for gardening purpose. You have to declare all consumption, and accordingly, for what purpose you are using. For that, after using, you might be generating wastage from that. You have to declare the quantity of this wastage under for processing and from sewage. And accordingly, you have to make provision of sewage treatment plant, effluent treatment plant to treat all those effluent generated, sewage generated from your processes, and to treat in such extent it will meet all conditions laid by State Pollution Control Board. There are certain conditions like BOD, COD, pH, suspended solid, total dissolved solids. Like that, you have to treat treatment in such a way that you will meet all the standards. And under this act also, you have to monitor, you have to establish your process for monitoring and of all process parameters. Whatever the water generating and after treatment, you have to monitor in such a way that there should not be increasing quantity or parameters than consented limit. Like that process you have to. In some cases, State Pollution Control Board emphasizes stringent conditions like ZLD. No liquid discharge should be there from that plant. All water should be recycled within premises. Like that, conditions will be very mandatory in certain areas. If any industry comes under CP area, critically polluted zone, then such conditions will be imposed on this industries. There are special conditions like OCMS also imposed on certain conditions, certain companies. OCMS means online continuous effluent monitoring system, so that all the parameters will be checked on continuous monitored by Pollution Control Board, so that it will, in any case, it will not violate statute. Then there are lots of requirements under Air Act also, like declaration of process-wise fuel, because for generating heat and heating purpose, certain companies use diesel, petrol, then furnace oil. Lots of fuels we are using. We have to declare what type of fuel we are using for process, and accordingly you have to make provision of air pollution control equipment, APC. We call it as APC. Air pollution control equipment should be established for control all pollution control parameters, like air scrubber you have to install, electronic precipitator, then filter bags. Then provision of appropriate stack height also should be there with sampling arrangement, so that whatever if waste generated from your process, air waste generated from your process, it should be dispersed at such height so that it will be mixed and diluted, so that it will not cause human beings as well as environment. Then special conditions like DG said, acoustic enclosure, then insulation noise, then some additional safety features and environmental features should be implemented to control particulate matter. Like that, stringent requirements are on DG set. Then implementation of fuel policy. NJT National Green Tribunal has given guidance to all State Pollution Control Board CPCB to implement fuel policy. Accordingly, no industry is allowed to use petcoke and furnace oil for any industry. This is made mandatory in Maharashtra, and side by side it will be implemented in other states also. Like Tamil Nadu, they have planned to implement it in FY23. In Gujarat, they have planned to implement in FY24. Like that. But in Maharashtra, it has implemented from last 2 years, and they asked to submit their action plan to switch over from polluting fuel like furnace oil, petcoke to non-polluting fuel like PNG, LPG. So that all industries in Maharashtra, they have already started implementation of cleaner fuel. Then there are certain guidelines and requirements under hazardous waste rule also. We can see in third column, declaration of hazardous waste generation quantity. Then you have to provide storage facility like there are certain guidelines from Central Pollution Control Board that it should be made from impermeable material, that leachate should not be enter into the groundwater and soil, it will not pollute soil, and certain it should not be stored more than 90 days. It must be disposed to authorized agency within 90 days. Then there should be proper labeling to understand what type of hazard is there with that particular material, particular waste. Like labeling should be there. Then transportation should be with SPCB approved vendor only. Then disposal to be as SPCB approved agency only. Then for any disposal, you have to submit manifest, online manifest. In other states, it is still it is offline, but in Maharashtra from last 2 years, they made it mandatory to fill manifest on online portal, so that it will be visible immediately after started from your industry. Then filing annual returns before 30 June of every year, so that what amount of waste you have generated and whether it is within your prescribed limit, it will be checked by State Pollution Control Board. Next slide, please. These are some general guidelines for consent for implementation of lighting source from LED, then rainwater harvesting, for maintaining good housekeeping and 5 years around plant. You have to disclose all non-hazardous generated from your plant and how you are disposing to authorized agency. Then no change in production quantity without SPCB approval. Then we have to submit environment statement on yearly basis on before 30 September of every financial year. Then industry still issue NAQS status, means National Ambient Air Quality Standards for noise as well as for air. Then 4R should be implemented: reprocess, reuse, recycle, recover to conserve natural resources. Then inspection book should be available for board officials. Then we should implement in such a way that there should not be more than approved ambient air noise, 75 dB for daytime and 70 dB for night time. Then formation of environmental cell to implement whatever the conditions laid in consent. Then energy meter should be installed to check whether you are running your pollution control equipments on daily basis. Then 32% of your open land should be under green coverage. Then provision of sample collections like for water, air should be available on site. Next slide. These are some state-wise consent requirement. It should be means all the rules, acts are common for all over India. Means it must be derived from Central Pollution Control Board, but implementation authority or guidance is they have given it to State Pollution Control Board. That's why there are difference in all states. Means if you check out Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, there are different guidelines given by State Pollution Control Board for implementation. If we see consent condition, means consent, there is combined consent of air, water and hazardous waste rule in Maharashtra. It's same in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. In Maharashtra and Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttarakhand, there is a combined format for Air Act, Water Act and hazardous waste rule. But if we see Tamil Nadu, there is separate consent for Air Act, separate consent for Water Act, and separate consent for hazardous waste rule authorization. If we see consent fee, there is clear-cut different guideline given by individual industries, State Pollution Control Board. If we see Maharashtra, consent fee calculation, it depends upon capital investment on land, building, machinery, and same consent fee slab available for CTE as well as for CTEO. If we see rules of Gujarat, then consent fee calculation, CTO is different and CTE is different. For CTE, land, building and machinery cost is considered, and for CTO only machinery cost is considered for calculation of consent fee. And if we see Tamil Nadu, as like Maharashtra, they have separate, they consider land, building, machinery cost for calculation of a state consent fee, but fee slab is different than Maharashtra. If we see Uttarakhand, they will consider land, building, machinery cost as a capital investment for CTE, but for during renewal of consent, they will not see gross capital. They will see only depreciated amount of investment, and depreciated amount of investment they will calculate consent fee. Means this consent fee for Uttarakhand is very less as compared to other states. Then on co-processing of hazardous waste, previously there was no clear-cut guideline from Maharashtra Pollution Control Board on co-processing of hazardous waste. But in 23rd August, they have developed one policy. Accordingly, they will start to give process approvals for co-processing hazardous waste. Co-processing means using hazardous waste for heat generation for cement industry or for raw material as a certain industries. Because if we from in certain our plants we are generating grinding waste. This grinding waste can be used as a raw material for paint industry. They can use this grinding waste for processing, for manufacturing of paint. If you see Uttarakhand, they have given permission from last 4 years, and we got approval for our Uttarakhand for plants for co-processing of grinding waste. But still in Maharashtra, it's not, but they have developed that policy and they have started giving permission for co-processing of hazardous wastes. In Gujarat state also, they have already implemented this co-processing policy, and they have started implementation of for permission for giving co-processing of hazardous waste like oil contaminated waste, oily waste for using in cement industries. For Tamil Nadu, they have formed policy, but it is separate procedure is there for taking permission from TNPCB. Fourth state-wise consent requirement is visits of FO. If we see Maharashtra is clear-cut CIS portal, Central Inspection System they have developed, so that on monthly basis they generate inspection schedule for all field officers, certain all over covering all over Maharashtra state. If they have visit schedule in that industry, then only they have to visit that particular industry. On their own guideline, they don't need to visit that particular industry. But if we see other states like Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, there is no clear-cut guideline from state government for visits of field officers. On their own, they can visit their field officers, visit any industry, RO also can visit in industry. But in Maharashtra, according to schedule, only visits to particular industry. Next slide. These are due to these certain guidelines. There are some impacts of different state-wise consent requirement. If we see combined consent versus separate consents, no uniqueness of issuing consent from all state pollution control board. If we, on the earlier side, we seen that there is separate guideline for separate SPCB. Need to take 3 different consent in some states. In some states, it's a combined consent. If there is combined consent, there is a reduction of time, efforts by particular industries. Then no need to refer different consent for during compliance. 3 consent, then we need to refer 3 consent. But if combined consent is there, then only one document we have to refer for checking compliance. Then if we see consent fee, different slabs for different industries for different states. If it is common for all, then common for in all states, then different slabs cannot be referred. There is clear-cut guideline for all states. In some states, there is a fee is higher side. If you see Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, there is very higher fee slab for a consent fee. In TNPCB, it is medium, and if we see consent fee of Uttarakhand, it is very less because it's on depreciated cost. Co-processing hazardous waste, we already seen in earlier side, and visit of SPCB, we already discussed this in SPCB in earlier side. Different office in Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, there is clear-cut guideline given by CIS portal. Only that particular field officer has to visit in that particular industry. But in other states, only that field officer will visit that industry. Yeah, so that in Maharashtra there is new ideas will be generated by new clear-cut guidance given by field officers, so that compliance will be ensured properly. Next slide. Monitoring mechanism followed by at endurance. What mechanism we have developed in our plants? We have developed 5 EHS golden rules for implementation of EHS practices across all 19 locations. If we see third, I comply with the applicable laws and procedure, work permits and PPs. Means we have given clear-cut guidelines to all individual company employees as well as contract employees. They have to follow all EHS guidelines, rules and regulations. So that if anyone is not following any of the legal requirements, EHS requirement, then we have given authority to all employees to stop that work at any moment of time. That's why due to this 5 EHS golden rule, we have given authority to all employees to stop any work which not comply with legal requirement and not comply with EHS requirement. Next slide. We give for implementation of legal compliance across all locations, we have developed PDC approach. We are following PDC approach for ensuring. In plan means plan, do, check, act, PDCA. For plan, in plan, all means legal registers are developed in all plants, particularly because there are separate procedures, separate processes in all plants. That's why according to requirements, we have developed legal register in all plants. We have, for developing this legal register, we have formed CFT, means cross-functional team, cross-functional legal team for developing these legal registers, which covers team from EHS, HR, utility, operations. If any new processes, machines, equipments, any plant, any process need to implement, then they have to fill the form of MOC, management change. During analysis of MOC, management of change, all applicable rules and will be reviewed through this MOC process, so that during planning phase only we will identify whatever the legal requirements required for that particular operation, particular industry, we will identify. And in do column, all compliance of identified legal requirements as per the calendar of legal register. Then installation of systems on interlocks for adherence of legal requirements like machine guarding interlocks, air cover interlocks. Like interlocks we will check during our auditing process. Then installation of pollution control equipment like ETP, STP, air pollution control equipment, run efficiently to achieve consented norms. Then in check column, we do evaluation of all legal compliances. Whatever the legal identified legal requirements identified in legal register, we will check during compliance in our periodically, means once in a quarter we'll check. We have developed monitoring methodology, measurement methodology for that. We monitors our industrial fluids, tax, ambient air monitoring, then work zone, noise monitoring, illumination. All those monitoring we do those are as per our frequency. Then periodical medical checkup also we do, so that there will not be deterrence effect on health of all employees. We ensure this monitoring of medical checkup of highly polluting area as well as non-polluting area. Also we are monitoring this. Then monitoring and compliance of all requirements through Anupalan portal. Through legacies we develop Anupalan portal, and Anupalan portal also we are monitoring all compliance of legal, like environmental compliance as well as safety compliances. And we are on corporate level, on plant level, we are conducting periodic audits. In act, during our audits, if we found any opportunity for improvement or non-compliance, we have to prepare action plan. For particular plant has to submit action plan, and accordingly, in PDC cycle, we ensure all legal compliances throughout the year. Next slide. Legal compliance through legacies, Anupalan software. We have developed this portal with help of legacies, and through this portal, we are monitoring on monthly basis. If we see, we are complied with 100% legal requirement across all plants. If some opportunity for improvements are there, we again make action plan for that. We are undertaking from all plant heads regarding detailed analysis and compliance of all consent conditions, other legal points on monthly basis. Next slide, please. Thank you. These are from side. If anyone has to, first of all, I request Sunil sir to give. concluding remarks. Sunil sir.
Yeah, Amarjeet, thank you so much. Thank you for the exhaustive and comprehensive walkthrough on the EHS compliances. So we look forward to receive any questions, any clarifications. We shall be glad to answer those.
Thank you, Sunil sir. Thank you, Amarjeet and Sunil, for your great insights on this matter. We are all, better off in understanding the policies of EHS and others due to this session. And we are thankful for the time spent and the great analysis that you have laid before us. It will surely add to our kitty of understanding of how we should be doing the compliances in terms of best practices and also in terms of analysis of what is a statewise do's and don'ts otherwise also. The benefits of the new codes that you did are absolutely spot on, and we are, enlightened in that way also. There are a few questions. Yes, we are going to share you the presentation also in some time. So all the attendees who have registered to this event will get this. So I thank you for attending this session. Thank you so much, Mr. Lalai. Thank you, Amarjeet. Thank you, Sunil, for your time. And thanks a lot. Any questions? We will wait for a couple of minutes more. So Ramanand Patel, I will unmute you and you can give your question.
आवाज आ रही है? गुड इवनिंग सर.
Yes, Mr. Patel.
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था कि सर बायोमेडिकल के लिए हजार्डस एथराइजेशन का रिक्वायरमेंट होता है क्या? उसकी लिमिट कितनी होती है? कुछ मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट?
Yes, for biomedical waste, if any plant is established occupational center in their premises and you are generating any biomedical waste, then you have to get authorization from State Pollution Control Board. If you are only develop a consultancy room and it's a non-medical hospital, it's a one-time approval or authorization from State Pollution Control Board. And if you have bedded hospital or bedded facility, then on periodical basis, means 1 year, 2 year, they will give your authorization. But if you are generating any biomedical waste, you have to take authorization from State Pollution Control Board.
जैसे कि हमारे यहाँ एक ऑक्यूपेशनल हेल्थ सेंटर होता है, तो उसमें एक्चुअली इंसिडेंट कभी कभी होते हैं. जैसे मान लीजिए 2 महीने 3 महीने में कभी एक इंसिडेंट हो गया. उस कंडीशन में क्या है, इसके लिए बायोमेडिकल एथराइजेशन का लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा?
सर उसके लिए कैसा है, आपका नॉन मेडिकल फैसिलिटी है तो वन टाइम आपको एक अप्रूवल लेना पड़ता है स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का. एंड इफ यू सी इन महाराष्ट्र इट इज मैंडेटरी. If you are generating 1 gram of only biomedical waste, then also you have to take appropriate approval from. But for non-medical facility, it's a one-time approval.
Okay, sir. सर एक क्वेश्चन और है मेरा. पेंट को प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ हजार्डस वेस्ट अलाउड के लिए, जैसे पेंट है सर, पेंट स्टोरेज के लिए है कि मान लीजिए हमारे यहाँ कभी स्टोरेज मान लीजिए 50,000 या 60,000 के आसपास लीटर स्टोरेज, जब पेंट अगर स्टोरेज हो रहा है, तो उस कंडीशन में क्या इसके लिए कौन सा लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा? एक्सप्लोसिव का लेना पड़ेगा या पेट्रोलियम का लेना पड़ेगा?
नहीं, आपका अगर पेट्रोलियम स्टोरेज कर रहे हैं, आपका पेंट और जो थिनर है,
yes,
उसका आपका जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स है उसका 4 पॉइंट आपको देखना पड़ेगा. आपको जो थिनर और पेंट है उसका इमेजेस को आपको रेफर करना पड़ेगा. If your MSDS is clear and उसका जो प्राइस पॉइंट है पेंट और थिनर का, उसका प्राइस पॉइंट अगर 23 डिग्री सेल्सियस से कम है तो उसका आपका 30 लीटर से भी ज्यादा आपको स्टोर कर रहे हैं तब भी लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा. 200 लीटर तक लोकल आपका ये जो कलेक्टर है वो दे देता है। अगर आपका 200 लीटर से भी ज्यादा है तो आपको पेसों से, मींस पेट्रोलियम एंड एक्सप्लोजिव सेफ्टी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आपको लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा। आपका अगर पेंट और थिनर है, उसका फ्लैश पॉइंट अगर 23 डिग्री सेल्सियस से लेके 65 डिग्री सेल्सियस तक है तो आपका जो पेंट और थिनर क्लास बी में आता है, विदाउट लाइसेंस आप 2500 लीटर तक स्टोर कर सकते हैं। अगर 2500 लीटर से भी ज्यादा जा रहा है तब आपको पैसों से अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा, लाइसेंस लेना पड़ेगा।
ओके सर,
आपका क्वेश्चन आंसर हुआ क्या? आपको स्कीम आपको पूछना?
नहीं सर, बस मेरा हो गया सर।
या
Thank you, Amarjeet. Thanks, Mr. Patel. There is one more question in the room which we have. Is this new code applicable and it is going to be implemented, or are there any changes from the state to rectify it? Is the question from Mr. Devesh Hure.
Yeah. Actually, code implementation is already begun. The first introductory communications from the dish office to the union workers as well as the industrial organizations is initiated by the dish office, and this code's implementation will start from January 23. So the government is prepared for all the requirements to ensure the proper implementation of the codes on the shop floor. If any suggestion or modification is there, government is open to accommodate those suggestions and improvements in the current legislations. Yeah, hope this will answer the question.
So thanks, thanks Sunil for clarifying. Devesh is satisfied with the answer. So we will wait for 30 seconds more for any questions. Otherwise, I have the pleasure of thanking the speakers once more, thanking the audience once more for making the time. And it was a great session overall. So thank you, Mr. Lalai, once more for making the time. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Amarjeet, for the great insights.
Thank you for giving the opportunity to present this. And thank you, Sunil and Amarjeet, for making it more informative and I am sure that it was lively enough for the people, those who are in this sphere of compliance of EHS. It would have been more meaningful to them as well.
Yeah, thank you, Jaideep. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you, Lalai sir.
Thank you all. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.